The Rick H Show is brought to you by McDonald's. The McRib is back now. The McRib, my favorite. But this is its farewell tour. Say it ain't so. This can't be farewell. Like a band that's had 4 farewell tours, we never know if this means it's gone for good. It's time to celebrate this iconic sandwich. From its tangy barbecue sauce, man, I love barbecue, to its tart pickles. Don't forget to grab a napkin when you're eating the last McRib, whether it's to wipe your tears or the barbecue sauce. Enjoy every single saucy bite like it's your last McRib ever. The McRib Farewell Tour is happening now at McDonald's. McDonald's. I'm loving it. Loving it. McDonald's, I'm loving it. Welcome to the show, everybody.
El tipo tiene una voz de radio, bro. Oye, dice así, yo no
Es mejor que el tuyo.
Es increíble. Por eso que tú tienes 2 trofeos, no 1.
That's true. Es la verdad.
Welcome to the Rick H Show, replacing Jasmine Ruiz. Well, he can never replace Jazz, but he's here to do his best. Ivanmanito, ladies and gentlemen. Ivanmanito.
I'm going to make Jazz proud, baby.
And with me today is CEO and founder of Latina Podcast Network, CEO and founder of Latino Pod Network. But us, we just say LPN. Rita Bautista, ladies and gentlemen, live from Houston, Texas.
La leyenda.
H-Town. World champion winner.
Ay.
Ahí
comenzó.
City of the world champion. Excuse me.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, I'm not a Yankee fan, so Ivan is from the Bronx.
I am from the Bronx, but sad, I don't follow the teams. I follow the players. Because, I don't know, it's un negocio, so yo no me quiero enamorar.
Yeah.
I rather like cheer on the player as he goes.
So you wear Yankee jerseys with names on the back?
Yankee jerseys don't have name on the back. Everyone knows the player. The truth. The only team in MLB that doesn't have the name of the players on the back are the champions, because they're champions. But forever, los Yankees nunca dice. You never saw the shirt that says Jeter when Jeter goes out. It says number 2.
So will you buy a shirt that says Jeter on it?
Hell yeah.
Okay. Welcome to the show, Rita. So if you guys don't know, Rita started some podcast networks. She's also a podcaster herself. I'm gonna let Ivan have the first question.
So did you start is there a picture of you like Jeff Bezos where he's like in that little room con todo estos papelitos por todos lados, sticker notes everywhere?
That's a good question, and I thought about that the other day. Porque I started in my closet. Like most people, you start off in your closet, and it's like I still live in the apartment that I had initially started everything in, and like I have nothing but equipment now, just like stacked up in that closet. So I don't have a picture, but I probably need to take one and then just be like, look, everybody starts somewhere, whether it's a garage or a closet in Houston on the ground during a pandemic, So
not all of us are fortunate enough to start like Ivan with his own professional studio.
Bro,
I mean,
I started I don't even remember where I started. I started in
LMP.
My son's room. I took, hey, yo, you don't sleep here. You always sleeping with us. This is what we have.
Ay, Dios mío.
So, for example, but that's the thing. Like, Rita, are you ever gonna let go of that apartment, or is that gonna be something where it's like, you know what, something big really, really started here, so I want to hold on to that as much as I can, or is it like, you know what, como nosotros, we told this joke, rompió. What's the next one?
She's gonna Airbnb it.
The funny thing is everything. Yeah, I know, right? Just like everything else in life, whenever you start to outgrow things, you kind of can feel it, and I know that I'm getting to that point. So I'm ready for us to have a headquarter location where it's not my house, and and have my own space where I feel at peace too. So I don't, and not like, I mean, it's a lie for me to stay here and be like, oh, I'm not going to be thinking about business when I'm at home, but I want to be able to get my mind to kind of relax and it's really hard when you open the door and you know that that's this place that you sit down to do work, or you know, even though my house is still like very well decorated, like I have a living room, I have my dining room where I sit down, like everything still has its place for everything, but I still do my business. Like I'll sit in my on my couch and, you know, conduct meetings or negotiations, or I'll sit at my coffee table or my dinner table and I work from there. So it's going to be really hard to walk away from that part, but I don't think that anything with growth should be like sad, you know what I mean? Like I feel like this apartment signified a good thing for me, for like a change in my life in general and just like growth as a person. So I think it's gonna be really awesome to walk away from it and know that it started there, but it grew to something a lot bigger than that. Something I can't even that I don't
It's
I think in
just
the long run I want it to grow where it's way past me. You know what I mean? Like it's something that can live on past me. So creating legacy.
So
it's
you just dropped the. I'm sorry,
wait,
Ivan.
before you go,
Yeah.
when you do leave, do a French Prince remix. Like you know when they left
Oh,
the studio and he was just
I
like,
don't need I'm gonna leave like the apartment.
the
Okay. I was
apartment.
like, yeah, I'm not leaving anytime soon. This industry.
So
Right.
you dropped a little hint there for me and Ivan. That means me and Ivan got to move to Houston, Texas to record out of the HQ.
I'm ready.
of
I'm
LPN.
done with New York.
I
am done with New
mean,
York.
you guys
Listen,
will not
if
be the
the
first.
closet is available, I will do all my podcasting from this side. I'm done with New York.
You know, though, that would
it's crazy out here.
be a good name for the studio, though, because a lot of podcasters, independent
The
podcasters, started
closet.
out of a closet. That would be a great name for a podcast studio.
The
There's
closet.
still
El
some.
closet.
Yeah, pero tú sabes con I mean, with all the things que hay ahora, cuando viene a ver cree que están saliendo de ahí.
Saliendo del closet.
Hey, I
Yeah.
don't know. A me estoy portando bien, nada más te lo digo. Me estoy portando bien, no que no estoy tirando chistes, Iván, esa vaina está sensitiva, pero tenemos que poner un micrófono al nombre al lado para que sepan.
Right. Yeah. No, por supuesto. We put recording studio, you know, podcast recording studio.
Live on air. Let me ask you a question. So, when you're doing a podcast, right, it's two different hats: podcast and network executive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
If when you're looking at a podcast to potentially bring on, what are some things you expect to see? What's something that catches your attention? Whether it's the content itself, the numbers, because a lot of people, oh my God, I got to do numbers.
Yeah.
What are some things that catch your attention about a show specifically?
Passion of the host. I think now more than ever. You know, I've had this network now for a while, been able to build out and create another, have two networks, and we kind of try our best to make sure that everybody is included in the stuff that we do together. So I want people to find the commonality in the fact that our podcasters are passionate about what they're doing. And numbers before didn't matter. Now, as we're growing and the podcasters on the network are growing as well, I want to make sure that we are staying fair to everybody who's on the network. So they do matter, but is your podcast a breakout podcast that just needs like a couple months to sustain until you're trending, or people are paying attention, or do you have a sustainable audience, right? Because you can have millions of downloads and followers, but if people aren't really staying and your retention is really low, that doesn't really matter. It's not really showcasing. Now, the other thing that I really do like too is like, I'm not here to censor you. We, if you look at like, and I say this with caution, but Joe Rogan is picked up by networks and he has sponsorships and opportunities across the board. And he talks about everything from sexuality to psychedelics.
300 million. For 10 years from Spotify.
Right. And so my thing is, we're talking about a network, Spotify, that's been around for many, many years. And it is a standard in homes now. It took a while for Spotify to get there. So I'm here for the long haul and I'm not afraid of that. So I want to encourage people to be as authentic as they want to be on their podcast. The reason I say that is because we're not, as Latinos in the Latinx community in this country, we're not monolithic. None of us fit into a box just because we speak Spanish. I'm a yogi,
What's a yogi? Wait.
Oh, yo sabes que nosotros dejamos de decir mala palabra.
What do you mean?
Yeah, because for like for example, what she was talking about, for us as Latino, we we like I'm gonna just say me for example, you look at all these other podcasts
Mhm.
and you look at their behavior, and you always feel like they have to be at a certain level to get away with certain thing. Like you were saying, Rogan just is there's nothing he can say wrong or anything that he can speak of.
Right.
They still stand behind them. So for us, when
Or
we
like
first got
Ben
the
Shapiro.
opportunity,
Yeah.
I had a meeting with like, yo, guys, this, and this cannot go. We can always be ourselves. If it slips, great. But I kind of told everyone, don't be yourself as much as you normally are,
Right.
because we felt like, you know what, we didn't want to lose this opportunity. We
Mhm.
never thought about it in the way that you just expressed it. So now I got to go back and tell these guys, like, yo, guess what I found out?
Well, there's a reason for you to be able to mark your podcast as explicit, right? You have the opportunity to market that way. And
Mhm.
the thing for me is more like, as long as you're not talking about killing someone or harming someone or putting somebody in danger, I legitimately want as authentic of voices as possible, because
Mhm.
the only way we're going to change that identity of Latinos in the US is by people being authentically who they are.
Yeah,
Like,
being true to themselves. Yeah.
right, exactly. Not everybody likes sports. Not everybody cares about baseball. I don't know why, but that's not my fault. And it's not my
Mm.
place to tell you, like, you can't be that person, or you can't talk about topics that most people don't talk about. It's like, no, I want you to be as authentic and as real as you want to be, because we are changing the face of media. If you think about it, and this is a conversation
We
that I've been
killed the
having a lot
radio.
lately.
We've killed
Yeah,
the radio.
right.
But
But the other thing is, I'm talking about specifically to Latinos that are podcasting
yeah.
in the US, right? Because this is my subject matter. Like, we are teaching people to stop listening to white and black media that we've been accustomed to over the last
Hip hop attitude.
entirety of our exactly the entirety of our existence. I went to high school here. I was born in the
Mm.
US. But like, I remember the channels that I was watching on television, almost everybody was white, black. Occasionally it was black. It was
Mm.
not really. And then Univision came in Baltimore, where I was raised in Reisterstown. We used to get Univision up to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So I didn't really care to watch Univision that much growing up.
Mm.
So I didn't really watch a lot of people
So
like
you
myself
never
or listen
saw
to a
Luz
lot.
Clarita,
Oh, I
Muchachitas,
did, but
Dos Mujeres
but
Un
it was
Camino. Like,
Caña
yeah.
Real de Pasión.
Caña Veral de Pasiones was the jam. Okay, don't hate,
Yeah.
don't hate. That was my favorite novela ever in
I,
life. But
yeah, it's
but
crazy
yeah,
because yo me paraba de que hacer vaina behind everyone because I didn't want to get caught looking, you know.
como
But
todos
then,
los hombres with reality
claro,
TV.
what killed it for me was, I don't know if you remember this one, El Clone.
mm,
El Clone was like from
that's
another
a good.
country,
Yeah.
Brazil, I think it was, and El Clone, it was like Netflix. They were able to show news and stuff.
Mm.
It was like Game of Thrones of their time. So cuando
Mm.
venía el clon a las
The
10,
music was
yo
fire
empezaba a
too.
limpiar, a arreglar muebles, a arreglar cortinas, a buscar de que en el teléfono, pero era para estar viendo cuando salía una vainita ahí, uy, mira que echaste mierda. But el clone was
Yeah.
it.
Damn, Ivan, you just. Well, for my family, we only had one TV, and that's what they watched from 7 to 9. 7, 8, and 9 were three novelas that, I know Telemundo did the
Yeah.
same thing. Like, they
Yeah.
competed with each other. So, the Clone, I
Yeah.
very vividly remember it. I had to watch it. It was what they had on.
It's like,
Right.
tú no tenías, I know, like kids now have a voice. Before you had no say, no nothing. Eso es lo que
No.
ustedes
Right.
dan, eso es lo que usted va a comer. Si no va a comer, va a pasar hambre.
We used to watch Jorge Ramos when I came home from
Don
school,
Francisco.
6
Yeah.
o'clock. And on Saturday, it was Don Francisco. So there's like religiously, we watch these people
Yeah.
without a saying. Now there's like, there's a TV in each room, so you could go do your own thing. Now, I get asked this all the time. Ivan does too. As creators, people come up and like, oh, I want to start a podcast. What do I do?
Mhm.
How do I go about it? Let me ask you, because I'm asking you as a podcaster, on your side, like how you see it, where should somebody start if they wanted to start a podcast?
In the class.
I think one of the right. One of the biggest things is ask yourself, how niche can you get?
Mhm.
What is your specialty, and how can you make it unique? Because the thing is that everybody wants to be something, but what's going to make you stand out the most? Do you want to have a podcast just to have a podcast so you can hear yourself on the microphone? That's awesome. And you might get some followers and listeners and stuff, but if you really want to be one of those breakout podcasts, what's going to make you unique? What's making you different? And are you ready to show up authentically as yourself?
And be consistent.
Yeah, consistency is the number one thing, right? We've had this conversation with one of the people on here. I'm not going to name names, but
Me?
I'm not naming names. Consistency is extremely important because that's the only way that your listeners are going to continue to follow you, right? Because if they know that every Monday or every Tuesday you're recording live and then the audio is going to go up on Wednesday, then they know to expect you. It's just like watching your favorite show on television. You're not going to watch The Bachelorette or The Bachelor every week if it's not on every week. You know what I'm saying? And there's so much content being thrown at people at a regular basis. Like, what is going to make you different? So people want to listen to you.
Okay, so that's what makes you as niche as possible. All right, so I went the opposite route. I wanted a show about nothing, just like Seinfeld, because I wanted to be able to cover every topic or be able to have those discussions if I could. But comedy, I think, is the last few years I've kind of held in on being a comedy podcast. So that's where we've gone with it. So the next big question is, man, Rita, I've been doing this for 4 years. I've been consistent. I've been putting out content. I've been marketing it. My numbers aren't growing. What am I doing wrong?
Well, I think one of those things is like, what's your strategy, right? Like, what's your marketing strategy? Are you connected to other people that could help you grow? So like, do you have people on your show that also have podcasts? Because sometimes you can share audiences between podcasters. That helps. There's also, have you reached out to the local news and told them that you have a podcast so that they can showcase what you're talking about? People forget the news is there. Like, the media is there. They're always looking for a story. So if you can figure out a way to spin your podcast and throw it out there to your local media, get them to interview you and talk about your podcast, that's a big deal. I mean, podcasts are big topics right now. So if you have a very unique conversation, and if you're Latino or Latina, they're like, yeah, what's up? Like, we know there's not a ton of y'all, even though that's just because they're not doing their research. But, oh, sorry.
A company today asked me, we want to get into the Latino market, but we can't find podcasts. I was like, I'm on a network. I'm on a network that has almost around 30 between the two.
Yeah.
I also know 16 other ones besides those. But yeah.
It's because they're not doing the research, and that's not our responsibility.
No.
Our responsibility is to create our own content, and the reality of it is, we can't always be forced to do everybody else's work for them. Sorry, that's just not how that works.
I think in the beginning we're gonna have to, and pull each other. One thing that when me and Ivan when I got to know Ivan like 4 or 5 years ago, it's specifically in the Dominican culture, you could do good, but you can't do better than me. That's something that, like, oh yeah, I'll help you out, I'll give you advice, but up to a certain point, right? So all the creators that, like, I know, Ivan, Tommy, we all look out for each other and we all push each other further. So it's also a change of mentality and culture. I know in the Dominican culture it happens a lot, and in other cultures as well, maybe Puerto Ricans and Cubans, where we have to stop. We have to stop being like that. Yeah, Hondureños. Like, we have to stop being like that. Like, if I started, let's say Ivan started podcasting after I did. Well, actually, he did something at LFP.
We had a couple, but for us, we were just gonna like expose all these chismes, and we was like, yo, you know what? That could really backfire. So at that moment, Peralta was going through his situation. We was like, yo, we gotta really think about this. And we was like, yo, you know what? Maybe the way that we're doing it is gonna be fun, but it probably backfire. So we took a pause on it. And then we just kind of switched it and made it more about, giving new artists an opportunity to come so we could share our public with them. And it's like, yo, come tell us about if our publics like you, they're gonna follow you, you're gonna gain followers, but we always made sure that they were consistent and that they were working. If you told us like, yo, I'm podcasting, I'm like, bet. Let me see your page, and you go to the page y tú lo que estás bebiendo en un teteo, una mueca, it's like, yo, that's not working. So
Yeah.
it was that. So when I started Manitos Gaming, I was like, yo, what is the Latino community missing? So I'm looking. Most of these podcasts were Argentina, Chile, and I was like, you know what? And the ones that they had in DR, they didn't have the following that I had. So I already had like a little gaming crew, and I was like, yo, come together. This is what do you think we could do with this? And they was like, yo, this is true. Let's do it. Esto y lo otro. Then our biggest decision was si en español o en inglés. And everyone's like, yo, we should do it in Spanish. But then nadie le estaba saliendo el español. It was that coño, tengo el pollo dentro del, So it was like,
My
what?
Spanish?
Yourself. So it was more English than Spanish. So ahí estamos divididos. Somos 10, 5 en español, 5 en inglés. But it was that. So I was like, yo, Rick, you've been podcasting forever. Like, help me out. How do I go about this, and this, and that?
You did it on your own.
And then Rick was like, yo, you've been doing it already. What are you talking about? I'm like, nah, I haven't been doing it like you doing it.
But Ivan, right? Like, if Ivan is more successful than me at this, I'm not gonna turn around and hate.
That's the crazy
Ivan.
thing, because it's like
I'm gonna push Ivan.
We have that mentality, gracias a Dios, where it's like, if Rick has a guest that we feel is like, yo, Rick, can we use, mándalo para la de nosotros. Rick is like, yo, by all means, even better, because lo ayuda a él when other guests come through, like, yo, you have any other podcast we could go through? Now he has 30 to choose from.
Yep.
That happens a lot. Eso le abre una puerta a un público aún más grande, también latino, que puede venir una persona de English market, So it's literally us creando un network, and we're having fun doing this because we're being ourselves, and then we have a great representation behind all that. So I mean, to me, it was just like, how do I get this organized? Because I know where I'm doing and I know where I'm going, but I don't know how to go about certain things. And that's when Rick was like, yo, this, and that. And then when he spoke to me about Rita, I'm like, that's a lie. That doesn't exist. And I didn't believe him till like, I was always the last one to send the paperwork. It's the day before. Rita's like, yo, you doing this or not? And I'm like, blah, 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 blah. And Rick is like, bro, you asked me these things and now you do it. And I was like, Rick, I'm going to do it, but I don't believe it. And even when I brought it to the table to the guys, they was like, yeah, that doesn't work. It's Latino. I'm like, bro, Rick is doing it. It's real. Then, boom, reality hits us, and everybody's like, oh, snap. This thing that Ivan did is real. How do we get in? And I was like, now there's a waiting list. So
it's
so dope to just be part of that, because every time you guys have a meeting, it was like, yo, it was connecting us, making us closer. Make sure you shout out other podcasters. If you guys want to go into this person podcast, by all means, And it's
now it's an award-winning network. Okay. Shout out to Mamas con Ganas as well.
Yep.
Hey,
I mean, I don't have to speak for you guys. You guys speak for yourselves. And I think that that's one of the biggest things about what I wanted to create, was something, again, right, that's going to live past myself, and that will continue to grow without it. So I don't have to be the person who's always having the conversation. Rick has brought some great opportunities to the table. A couple of other podcasters continuously bring people to the table. And my goal is essentially to get you guys paid market rate or above for, your host right advertisements and other inserts that we put into the podcast. So like, for me, I don't need people to worry about whether or not it's real. I know it is. I've been doing it now for since 2019 is when it initially started, when the LLC was started, but actually like formed network to where we are now. And I'll tell you, it was grassroots at the beginning. I started everything on my own. I put my own investments into it. And now I'm starting to see, the profits from it, because let's be honest, we're all in this to make some money. And that's one of the things too, that I noticed was, how do you get people, and I'll be honest with the reason why I legitimately started it was because I was like, how do we get people from stopping themselves? Like, to stop yourself from stopping your podcast, because I was like, we need to hear these stories. People need to hear your stories. People need to hear like who you guys are interviewing. They need to be able to see the faces of people and hear their voices and like feel like you're part of this medium, because podcasting is not going anywhere. If anything, it is going to be around for a very long time. And my biggest thing was like, I'm tired of Latinos being the last seat at the table. I'm like, if we are going to be the last seat, we're actually not going to be a seat. We're going to build our own table and make people come to us.
That's right.
So, you know, I've always been that go-getter person. And I was like, you know what? I've worked my entire life for other people in other industries, and none of them looked like me or sounded like me. And now it was my turn to be able to build something out that really showcased who I am as a whole. And it's really funny because the other day I was on a road trip and I listened to every single podcast on the network. And I was like, you know, there's a little bit of everybody. There's a little bit of me in every single person's personality, like a little bit of myself that I can hear in everybody. And I was just like, it's just funny, you know, now to be like, dang, I built the reflection of who I was in a media company. And that's a pretty cool feat. So,
So
con el aplauso ahí. Okay.
I did. Pero acá, who's producing the show? Me or you? Hey. So I'm gonna play a quick commercial real quick. We'll be right back. We're gonna ask, when we come back though, don't leave. I'm gonna ask Rita about money.
Wait, ¿busco ese tigre todavía?
Money, todavía.
Okay.
Todavía, después del otro. Money. Money. How much money?
Masari.
She could give us Ivan's numbers, not mine. But money.
Getting diagnosed with diabetes changes everything. Not just how you eat, but how you exercise, how you enjoy life, how you live. I feel like Walgreens just really gets it. From my local pharmacist, Sophia, always being so kind and encouraging, to all the expert resources and support with my meds, couldn't do it without them.
When you need to talk diabetes, Walgreens is here. Start managing your diabetes at walgreens.com/diabetes.
So Ivan's camera went off cue, so I'm gonna take him off the screen real quick. Yes, money. That is the goal. Some people want to do this. They want to. For me, this is my favorite time of the week. I'm able to just have fun, interview, have conversations, joke around. But you do want to make some money off of the podcasting. So what are some ballpark, let's say ballpark figures that you've seen delved out? Not in our shows, obviously.
I'm like, do you really want to
No.
You know, I'm gonna be honest. Let me start here. If you're an independent podcaster, you can start monetizing as soon as before you even launch your podcast. But I don't think that should be your main focus. Your main focus should be creating a quality podcast that people want to listen to, that you want to listen to. Because some people, I've met people who record a podcast and don't even listen to it. And I'm like, do you even know what you sound like? You got to work on that.
The road is the best place.
Right. And so for me, it's, you know, there's a couple of ways to be able to create monetization opportunities. Now, for small micro audiences, I would say your best bet is to be able to create a media kit and showcase what you do, even if you don't have any statistics or data before you launch your podcast. Like, what are you wanting to do? And the more niche, the better, because you have the opportunity to reach out to companies. LinkedIn can be your best friend, y'all. Let's say you're talking about Latinos who love dogs or something. I'm being very unique, very specific, but Latinos who love dogs, or Latinos who love Yorkies. It doesn't have to be Latinos anything, but the thing about that is the more niche and specific you are, the better, because you know who you can target, what brands, what companies, what friends, whatever that you can target and talk to about sponsoring your show. And then going from there, is it going to be a sponsorship, or are you going to go off of cost per mil, which I think is actually a very antiquated way of getting sponsorships or ad buys for
Let me
podcast.
stop you real quick. So explain that. CPM, cost per mil.
Cost per mil.
There's some podcasting hosting sites that's how they offer money. Yeah, they. So I know I'm gonna say one is like per 1,000 downloads is $20.
Right.
That's a legit factor of how to monetize on a specific. I'm not going to name the website because that's not our business. But $1,000, 1,000 downloads or views or impressions gets you $20. Explain that concept to us. CPM.
I think I started to learn about CPM, or cost per mil, when people were doing social media influencing. And I think that it's one of the most degrading ways to pay people. And I know I'm live and it's going to be really bad to say that out loud, because it does not actually translate to the long-term ROI that a podcast and or influencer actually their effect is, right? Because statistics and studies show that specifically in the Latino community, every dollar is anywhere from 4 to plus times. So if you're paying somebody $20, let's say 20. So right now industry standard is anywhere from 27 to 32, I think, which is kind of crazy because it's been like that for a minute. But anyway, that's not taking to effect that you are very niche. Now I'm about to get really comfortable on my couch because this is when I love
Let's
this.
do it. I mean, we got 3 segments that we haven't rolled out yet.
It's happening.
Now, there are people who utilize different standards or cost per impressions, which are a little bit different. But cost per mil is your traditional standard of how people get paid for their advertisements. Now, if you don't have a big podcast, let's say, for example, you have a huge, like 1 million downloads. But by the way, guys, there's not really a lot of podcasts out there that hit those numbers regularly unless they already have a platform that they've built out right prior to. So let's just
this
chill
is
it on
gonna be a million download.
Right. I think so. I mean,
2 years, $1 million.
Well, listen.
And then I'm gonna cut this clip 2 years from now, and then I'm gonna replay it.
And I'm gonna be like, Rick, you remember when we went to the bank together that day and we were just like, what's up?
It was like, mi hermano de sangre.
We're gonna be like, who was that inconsistent podcaster we used to know? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
He's now my production assistant.
Oh, yay! I know. Oh, he gets us coffee in the mornings. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Yeah, so it's a very antiquated way of paying influencers and social and podcasters as well. And so I think that because this industry has been blowing up, podcasting in general, there have been a lot of different models that are kind of coming out now to try to see what is actually going to be the most effective moving forward.
Can I throw one more before we go to the way we do it? Promo codes.
They work for some.
For some, depending on the size of audience that you have, and depending on what you.
For us as like influencers, promo codes don't really work that much.
Okay.
Because it's like, for example, it's like he was saying, it doesn't add to what we're worth. You know, you literally just got access to 150,000 people, and if you didn't. Outside of that, if you get 5 people, you got 5 people for life. We don't get a cut of those 5 people for life that you're going to constantly make money. For example, when Uber started, Uber used all the influencers that they were giving out promo codes in exchange. Of course, they killed it because those promo codes weren't worth what the crowd was worth. But they got away with it, And ever since that, no influencer now does it for that reason. It's like, yo, if a billboard that's standing on the highway sees 130,000 people a month, they're charging you for that 130,000 people that you're seeing, and they're going to charge you more than 7 to 8K. And they have no responsibility if whatever's on that flyer, you bought it, you bought that car, you invested in that home, or you got that whatever. They don't have nothing to do with that. Their thing is you saw it. The statistics show you saw it. The numbers show you saw it. We did our job. If anyone bought, that is not our problem. You're paying to be seen. Right? And then when you do those promo codes, a lot of time, you don't even use the promo code. Or sometimes the people that do get involved, they don't even use your promo code. It's like, oh, I did it. I forgot about the code.
That's a big one.
If you do the code, you like from $50, you got like 2. You got to like 100,000 people use the code. You made enough, but that was only that one time. He's gonna constantly bank on those people.
So there's what do we do, Rita? How do we get
Well,
away from these two
so
ideas?
there's a concept right now, and so like we're working on something like that for next year. There's a lot of tracking opportunities too now for being able to see the impact of your advertisement and how long it actually lasts. So I think one of the things is making sure that you're getting advertisement opportunities that last longer than 6 weeks. That way you have a chance to really see the full impact of what your dollars are going for. The other thing too is like I said, this is something that we're going into for next year, and it's utilizing pixels to track the way that the advertisement is being interacted with, right? So
Mm,
how long is this person in this space? Is this person interacting 6 months later in the first month? Like things like that, and it's off of the listener themselves, right? And there's a lot of ways to track that. That's more technical than anything. I think anybody who's listening really wants to know. But long story short, there are better opportunities to track, and that's what we're moving into for next year.
mm.
Um, but to also figure out, like, the trends and what people are, how long people are interacting, how many times they're interacting. I mean, if they're listening to the Rick Age show, I'm pretty sure they've heard about McDonald's over the last year. And
Yep. And
like
Pfizer.
right, Pfizer, McDonald's,
Forever. That's a mark forever.
Infinity.
Infinity,
Let's do a
who
life
else? There
flex,
was
Rita.
like
Let's life flex right now. Like just a small life flex.
Walgreens, yeah,
Walgreens, McDonald's,
Ulta
different
Beauty,
different sets of
Coke.
McDonald's.
yeah,
I
Coke.
I'm not on the Coke one, but yeah, Infinity.
Rick, you're
Um,
on every other one. Like, I
I
think
know.
it's okay.
It got to a point where Rita was like, "You," I was like, "Yeah, it's okay. I don't know."
Yeah,
I'm turning down money. Can you believe that? uh,
right.
so it's like Coke, Ultra, McDonald's, Infinity, Pfizer. Pfizer's a different It has a
And
couple different ones.
commonality, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Walgreens. There's another one, Latina podcasters. I'm forgetting. It's a lot.
First Republic Bank. We
Yeah.
have ad by or
Chispas
ADP
was
by Roll
one.
Chispa, yeah, Chispa the
Um.
dating app.
So this
Yeah,
just
just a
that
couple, just a
just a,
couple small
that was
names.
just this year.
Yeah,
This year.
yeah.
Um. So the model you explained it. So if I'm a big podcaster with a huge audience, the tracking might work for me in my advantage because I'm able to show engagement and sustainability over a large period of time, which means it equals more money, right? I want to play one more of our ads. We got a special surprise coming up.
Busco, lo voy a buscar, vengo ahora.
Ivan's got to take a
Voy
break real quick. I'm gonna remove him off the camera. I'm gonna play this Pfizer ad real quick. I'll be back with Rita. We'll be talking about more money and then the worst podcast she's ever been featured on. So yeah, she's gonna name that today, right now, and I'm gonna cut it up for Instagram.
Dancing crew, trip for two, nailed the final interview. Game with Doug, brand new mug. Come here, kid, give me a hug. The more you want to do, the more we want to do. Boosters designed for COVID-19 variants are now available. If you've had your primary series, schedule an updated COVID-19 booster appointment as soon as you're eligible. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
So I bought my house because of being on Latino Pods Network. Rita made me that much money. I'm just kidding.
I was like, you're gonna make me cry because you're the second person to tell me that this year, and that is
No,
like,
I did. So I'm a couple. I was able to do very well. I've done very well. So Rita, I have a really short surprise. So somebody wrote into the Rick H show and was very enthusiastic about joining the network, and I made them jump through hoops. Much love to your channel. Thank you. I made them jump through hoops to be on the show. When he comes on screen, I'll bring him up here. So he got me like the same thing. I did the cheesecake thing that Diddy did. I did the I made them get me coffee from Queens and bring it to me in Long Island.
the Cambodian breast milk. Yeah.
The Cambodian breast milk. I had this guy work on my house as well. Let me see if he's here. Is he available? Ivan, did he show up to the studio yet? I don't think he's there yet. But when he comes in, I'll introduce him. So I've done very well. You mentioned a point of podcasters quitting. I actually filmed and shot my last episode in December. This was Rita and I had conversations about signing. She was still starting out. She had to figure out the 10 that she wanted to roll with. And I had completely shut down. And then Rita reached out and I was like, okay, I'll shoot it. I'll do it differently. I'll come back. Oh, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Caché. Caché, mi hermano, ¿cómo tú estás? Oh, no te oigo. Espérate.
Esa es ella, esa es ella.
Ah, sí,
ella
sí.
me ve.
Sí, sí.
Ella está viendo el flow.
Está viendo el flow.
¿A dónde ella está? ¿Dónde ella está?
Ay, Dios mío.
Está viendo el flow. Dile
Ladies and gentlemen, Caché has joined
God.
the Rick Gates Show.
Dile que cheque el flow.
Adiós, llegó el
Espérate,
flow.
ella no está viendo la barriguita.
Espérate.
Ahí, la barriguita.
Oh, okay.
Está mucho más
Todo
para atrás,
está
para que ella me
enseñando
vea.
todo, okay.
Está mucho más para atrás para que ella me vea.
Where's the censorship? La
Okay.
censura.
Ay, Dios mío. Hey,
Hey. Caché, this is Rita.
espérate, déjame
Rita.
decírselo en inglés. Déjame decírselo en inglés.
Okay.
Mori, can you feel that? Feel that right there. Feel it. Feel it.
Beautiful. What is that? Velvet?
Boyfriend material.
Oh my God.
Hey, viste ahí, me la comí en inglés. Estoy casi
Diablo.
mudado allá. Estoy casi mudado. ¿Para dónde que me tengo?
Coño,
yo no tengo mucho,
esa-
¿qué es lo que yo tengo que buscar para allá? Para Tesa es que nos vamos.
Patesa. Ella vive en Texas.
Hey, allá estoy como yo, grande.
Ajá. Adiós. Oye, el inglés.
Hey, for my English, that was a little bit right there.
Oh, ajá. Ay.
Pero
So,
for this girl with the, for the podcast, yo quiero hacer uno. Pues tú le dijiste que yo quiero hacer
no. Esto ahora. I'm going to introduce you, Rita. This is
pues
Caché.
yo tengo que salir para entrar otra vez.
No, ya tú estás ahí. Ya llegaste.
Pues yo
Dile
digo,
la idea tuya. Habla.
Ok, la idea mía, mira, lo que pasa es que tú ves ese corazón, por más grande que tú lo veas ahí, lo han destrozado muchas veces. Entonces yo necesito un podcast para que otras personas como yo no le pase lo mismo.
Yeah.
Yo quiero sentarme, explicarle mis errores. Claro, porque uno como hombre tiene que admitir sus errores. Para que otros amigos como Rick y Mr. Smooth no cometan esos errores también. Y para educar a las mujeres que están rompiendo corazones por ahí. Porque creen que los hombres no lloran, pero los hombres lloramos.
Dicen que los hombres
Nosotros
no
sí.
deben llorar.
Entonces tú sabes, entonces uno tiene que, tú sabes, decirle a los muchachos que está bien enamorarse. Cuando uno se enamora, se acuestan 2 y se levantan 3.
Ajá.
Nope.
Ahí está bien.
Entonces, ese va a ser el podcast mío ahí. Yo voy a invitar mujeres que yo tenía relaciones de amor y vaina, y le voy a decir dónde yo fallé para que ellas me eduquen y así yo ser una persona mejor.
Ok.
¿Qué tú crees? ¿A dónde firmo?
¿Y cómo se llama?
¿Cómo se llama el podcast?
Rompiendo Corazones con Caché.
Ay.
Primer sponsor, Viagra o Ciales, si no, no quiero más nada.
Oh my.
Estoy ready. Estoy ready. ¿Dónde firmo? ¿Cuál uso? ¿Con cuál es que se firma? Estoy ready.
Es electrónico.
Electrónico. Ah, bueno. Está difícil ahí. Yo no tengo. Hey, mi celular, espérate. Mi celular. La gente aquí no recoge ni nada. Pásame, yo estoy hablando solo. ¿Tú eres una persona? ¿Me están hablando? Oh, esto es mierda. Ok. Tú me lo mandas ahí a mi celular, ¿verdad?
Sí, ahí te lo mando.
Bueno. Dame date mi teléfono. Tienes que llamarme con una tarjeta de $2 de voz.
Ok.
Bueno. Hey, ¿yo lo puedo dar así por aquí?
Sí.
No.
Tiro al aire.
Una vez yo tiré un beso por el internet y se fue viral. Ahí estaba yo y todo el mundo relajándome en el bloque. No pude jugar dominó por 2 semanas.
Espérate, pero si tú lo tiras ahora, todas las mujeres que están escuchando a este show ahora mismo.
Hay mujeres.
Shit. Ese Caché. Ay, mira ese número de
809.
809. Déjame, espérate,
atención, mujeres, por favor de llamarme al 809-144-6969. Wow. Qué bonito número. 144-6969. Llámame ya. La vaina que dice en inglés, raise me, apply, caché.
Ajá.
Pero ese es mi podcast, ya tú sabes, more, piénsalo, no te me desesperes, que la desesperación es parte del fracaso. Tú sabes que estamos aquí, yo no voy para ningún lado. Ahora, si no te lo han dicho hoy, es muy bonita, déjame decirte. Yo lo voy a decir, yo voy a tomar el atrevimiento, lo dije.
Ajá.
Y tengo que sufrir cualquier consecuencia, estoy ready.
Es hondureña, caché. ¿Tú tienes experiencia con las mujeres hondureñas?
Yo soy de Honduras.
Ah, ¿también? Okay.
Sí, yo soy un hombre duro. Todos los duros somos de Honduras, yo soy duro.
Está bien. Rita, do you think Cache has an award-winning recipe right here for a show?
He's got an award-winning recipe for something. A ver qué le va a pasar con las mujeres.
So,
Tengo una vaina en inglés ahí. ¿Qué fue eso?
You have to translate it for him, Rita.
¿Qué dice ahí? Ahí hicieron una vaina.
Caché, no,
espérate. ¿Quiere salir conmigo?
Espérate.
Yeah, I didn't see it again.
Te lo voy a decir ahora,
Está bien. Hey, yo voy a estar aquí tranquilo.
Le pregunté a Rita.
Están hablando cosas importantes en inglés, yo sé.
Me está marinando el podcast.
Ella dijo que, So, yo le voy a dar la información tuya, Caché, a Rita. ¿O tú quieres mandarle un mensaje tú
mismo? Yo
mismo?
no cojo mucho paso. Yo empiezo durmiendo en el mueble y cuando tú quieras, después nos movemos para la sala y después la cama. Yo, lo mío es el paso.
Hey.
Dile que está bonita, dile que dije yo que está bonita. Pero no le diga que dije yo.
Oh my God.
Es una pregunta y me voy.
Ok. Tira la última.
Y es para ella.
Ajá.
Yo no sé, bueno, vamos a decir como dice Romeo. Que solo por un beso. Además, yo no sé cantar, voy a decir Romeo. Cuando tú besas a otra persona, ¿tú cierras los ojos o lo abres? No me rompe el corazón.
That's a good question.
Cuando tú te estás besando, tú cierras los ojos o lo abres. Si lo tienes abierto.
Lo cierro.
Lo cierro.
Creo lo cierro. Creo que lo cierro.
A las 7:15 llega el avión allá a Houston. Pásame a buscar. Emma, me voy.
Hey. Ladies and gentlemen, Caché.
Mori, estoy ready. Te voy a llamar.
Oh my God.
Caché is incredible, you know. I don't know if you know his story, Rita. He was a really, really famous merenguero in the 80s in DR.
Oh.
And yeah, so just like every other Dominican immigrant, he had to migrate to the U.S. And he couldn't find valuable work, so he started working as a super in the building. But it's a great series on Caché. I'll send it over to you.
Okay.
I mean, he was making some advances there. Does a guy like Caché have a shot with Rita? I know you have someone, right. But does Caché
yeah, he's
himself,
right here. This is my someone.
But does
Louis needs a daddy.
Oh, I mean, he's good with dogs. But does Caché have like a shot? I mean, the immaculate curls, the beautiful chest hair, the huge gold chains.
He had me at velvet. I think, I try. One of the best things about this industry is you got to keep talent and, passion separate. So I think for now, I'm going to let that one go. It's heartbreaking to just let such a beautiful man dejarlo ir.
Just let him walk.
En el mar para todos los pececitos por ahí. But,
yeah.
I have to keep business and love separate.
Okay.
He already pitched me, so.
Yeah. He might be on Latino Pods soon.
Yeah, he might.
So we have two segments on the Rick Gates Show. The first one is idea on how to get rich quick. You give me your thoughts, and if it works. Are you ready?
Oh, me? Right now? Okay.
Yes.
Go. Okay.
You want me to show you? So, Rita Bautista, my get rich quick scheme for this week is I'm going to take my unemployment check, right? It's $305. in the state of New York. I'm going to buy a $50 microphone. I'm going to borrow my friend's laptop. I'm going to start a podcast. I'm going to record for, let's say, 20 episodes. Then I'm going to pitch to you. Does that scheme get me rich? Just like that. No.
Just like that.
Yes.
No, it does not.
It doesn't.
I don't want to say that it's like, because I don't want to put, like, I'm all about intention and manifesting the words and being very cautious the words you use. But no, it does not, unless you are a celebrity that unfortunately got fired and is on unemployment.
So I can't just I can't just start a podcast and become rich.
I mean, no, you cannot. However, is it a lucrative opportunity? Yes.
Okay. The other segment we have on the show. Okay.
Okay with it. Okay, I was trying to read that.
So it's similar. It's similar to marry, F, kill. Right.
Okay, got it.
All right. So I'm gonna give you 3 things, and you gotta picture. You gotta give me what you're in love, what you love, what you're okay with, what you hate. Right. Spotify, Buzzsprout, and Anchor.
So Anchor's owned by Spotify, so that's not really fair.
It was
but
a trick.
I will. Okay, I was gonna say
Spotify.
I live with. I could do without. Anchor, I think, is actually the one I love. The reason for it is because I think it gives.
You love it. Okay.
Well, I'll say why. I love it because I remember when Anchor first started out and what they were doing and what they're doing now. And Latinos like to use Anchor. It's for some reason one of the easiest platforms for them to use. And so for me, it's like, well, if you like it, I love it. So
okay,
that's it.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen.
Easy hosting platform.
That was okay.
Yeah.
I was nervous. I was like, I didn't even know I got answered.
I got a hard one now.
Whoa.
So I'm gonna hit you with two of these, right?
Okay. 2.
Yeah, 2.
3, 2, 1. Okay.
I'm gonna give you 3 podcast names.
Oh,
love it,
please.
Okay with it, hate it.
I can't. No,
it's
don't
30.
do
That's
this.
a lot.
If it's on the network, I'm not answering.
Hold on a second.
They don't have to say not in the network, not part of the network.
I'm not gonna say if they are or they aren't. Right?
Okay.
Right. Mamás con ganas. Her dinero matters. Wine and chisme.
Love it.
Gun to head. Give me
No, absolutely not. We're not doing that.
My last one.
Go ahead.
My last one. Okay. ¿Quién tú eres? Los mejores malos. The Rick A. Show.
Well, everybody knows I would get rid of Los Mejores Malos immediately if they're not consistent. Like, no, I'm just kidding. I listen to y'all's podcast. Like, I love it. Yeah, no, I love all of them. I handpicked all of these guys to be on the network. Everybody's been handpicked, so I love everyone's podcast. And that's not BS. That's just the reality of how I feel.
Such a PC answer. I'm gonna get
How much would how crazy?
Listen,
how crazy would it be?
The back of the camera,
let me explain something to you. You own pets, right? You have a favorite. There's a favorite for everything.
No, there isn't.
It's
I
not
can't
the
do that. Not doing that.
Okay. All right. Ivan, do you have a love it, okay with it, hate it for her real quick off the top of the head? He probably does. For Rita.
4.
So
love it. I love it. My podcast.
No. You're asking. You're giving Rita 3 options.
Oh,
this is not the Ivan guest show.
I was like, I love mine. I hate Rick's. I was gonna hate it right off the back. Like, I hate it so much. Sometimes I gotta be in it.
Okay, but you're part of this show, so you can't. Okay, give her 3 things. It could be 3 random things.
All right, Nike, Adidas, Fubu.
Oh my god, that's terrible. One of them is awful.
Yeah, but we got to see where she
I
stands now
love
that Kanye
Adidas.
did that.
Yeah, I'm an Adidas girl
Mm.
Okay.
from the get. More Pumas, but Adidas, Nike, meh. It's okay.
Oh,
I deal with it. FUBU, I never really wore any of the stuff, so I guess I could say I could live without it. But nobody lives with it anymore anyway.
no,
So you need
Fubu's
something
making
a
a
little bit more
comeback.
relevant.
Who was making
Oh,
a
really?
comeback? They
So
sponsored a couple of
Everything's
artists.
making a comeback.
we're
Champion is making a comeback
we're
too.
terrible
Nah,
at this game. We're terrible at this game.
I'm
I
not. I'm not.
know.
I'm not an
I was just
Adidas
trying to
fan no
get her
more.
to be like, yeah, I love the Rick A show and I love this one from Latina.
Right.
I used to like Adidas,
No,
not no
I
more.
love all of them. Look, I would be crazy if I sat there and was like, "Oh, I hate all of these shows."
Okay, so I teased it before. What is the least favorite podcast you have ever been on?
Y'all are gonna laugh at me, but this is. I have an episode that I actually recorded that I was not a fan of. There's a lot of shows
From your
there
show.
from my show,
Okay.
and now I go back and listen to it. I'm like, oh my god, this is a terrible show. But yeah, it was when it was empowerment and all that because I thought that you didn't have to be niche or you could just have a huge audience
Mm.
immediately when you created stuff, and that's not the case. And so I was just very green, and it really sucked.
What season and episode number is this so I could
We're
All
gonna
play
of
the
the
figure it out.
ones
entire
before. I'm like all the ones from before. But the thing is like we're actually going to be revamping the podcast for next year and recreating kind of a conversation to follow a tech startup. So
Mhm. No, I need a specific episode, the worst one, so we can replay it
oh
next week.
Yeah, I
I
need
mean,
that
I think
insert.
the first episode was the worst one. It was called Self Love and all that. And
Sounds
just,
amazing, the idea.
it was
Fantastic. Self love.
terrible.
I'm all about it. Ivan's
I
all about
know.
the Gache loves
Terrible.
self love.
That's just self
For
love. I even not
sure.
so much.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah. But, I guess one of the questions I have for you guys is what is your favorite thing about podcasting? Why do you podcast?
Go ahead,
Uh,
Rick. You got two of those Grammy nominee things that you bought. Now it's the time to talk about it, be about it, hate about it.
They will be one day. They are already. We just-
the guests that I meet, the opportunities that happen because of this is an escape, and I love it. I love what I do. I love creating. So when you love something, you got to figure out how to make that your business. Ivan,
Amen.
That was very
mic
PR.
drop.
That was very PR right there.
I think you're very much on your way, Rick. What my goal now is to retire you off of whatever you do on your day job. I
Oh,
hope you're not listening. I'm just
yeah.
kidding. We would
No
never
me
do
digas
that.
así.
Well, the other projects I'm doing, that's other like their goal also. I was like, oh boy, okay, I'm all
Y si
for
lo
it.
malo es que tiene un trabajo bueno, y si fuera malo,
Buenísimo.
porque tú puedes,
Yeah.
oportunidades hay, a que se hace un OnlyFans rompe.
Yeah.
Adiós. Oye, yo estoy haciendo
Oh,
uno
whoa.
de los pies. Por los pies, por los pies, por los pies, por los pies, por los pies.
Lo ponen en chocolate, después otro día en vainilla, otro día en strawberry.
Ew.
Ivan,
That's so
why do you like podcasting?
Damn, you saw how I played off, como que se le había olvidado y vaina. That for me is gathering. For me is like me creating content is pretty much what I'm leaving. Like antes tú vivías una eternidad a través de fotos. So ahora tú vas a vivir una eternidad a través de video. So for me, podcasting is that. For me, podcasting
You're so
is
special.
getting a group of friends together and creating a network big enough to share with everyone. So all those stories are told. How did you start gaming? What was your favorite game? When you fought your brother, how many controllers you broke? Everyone has a different and unique story,
How
right?
many
So
Nintendo cartridges did you put in the freezer?
how many did you
Mhm.
blow, or did you break? Did you land some games?
He's
Stuff like that?
he's talking about the cartridges.
So
Right. I mean, listen, I'm just here as a guest.
so to me, those stories matter because I feel like us as Latino, we grew up around gaming, and it's not represented to a level where I feel like is I'm comfortable. And in a lot of areas, we are number one. I keep saying it everywhere I go. Like we are number one in the world in Street Fighter. So us being number one, we should have a sustainable community for gamers to come and be like, yo, this podcast does this one does that, this one does that. So when one of our Latinos are in the pedestal, we could all have some content and talk about it and be like, hey, if he could do it, he can do it, you can do it. And on top of that, know that when I pass to the other world, my kids can be like, yo, that was great Gramps. And it's like, yo, maybe, if they find some answers through all that with me and the guys that I podcast with as well.
That was beautiful. You're a beautiful human being.
I try to be,
I got one last question for Rita before we're out of here.
Ooh.
What is something the world doesn't know about you that you keep very private? But today,
on the Rick Gates show,
because you're here, you want to drop.
We want the tea.
Professional or private?
Personal, private, personal.
All right, I'm gonna say it.
Did she say she has?
She's dating one of the Houston Astro players. No.
Put it out there. Tell him, Peña, si estás escuchando, I'm down for the cause. Okay, I will help you win everything.
Bateando de foul.
Peña, oh my God, I love him so much. I also love Mauricio Lubon, but he's also married and Hondureño. Super proud. But
legit baseball fan.
Something? No, I mean, I actually have become more of a I wouldn't say I'm a baseball fan now of the Astros more than ever, but like what I love about baseball versus every other sport is like Latinos are all over it, and not even all over it. Like the Houston Astros stadium has pupusas there at the stadium now. Like they have Central American, and I'm like, I'm listening to old school bachata that my uncle used to play. My godfather's Dominican, so like I used to listen to him like. Listening to Joey Veras and Anthony Santos, and I'm listening to this while I'm going into the stadium. Like, what is going on up in here? Like, this is awesome. You just feel good about being represented and feel like people are authentically accepting of us living our lives out loud now more than ever. I love that part about life. I think I wouldn't say that that's not something that people don't know about me, but
well, you just admitted to having a crush on a married man on live on the air on a podcast.
No, I meant like supporting him.
Wey.
Hey, we all have celebrity crushes. It's okay.
Cuando Caché llega ya no va a pelear con pelotero.
Pero ya dije que yo como él es talento, no puedo,
he's
es una línea de respeto.
Yeah,
right, una línea de respeto. So we have to. Listen, I'm still trying to think of something that. I'm in a sorority. A lot of people don't know that. I'm a Gamma, Sigma Lambda Gamma, Latina sorority. That it was incorporated Latina. We're multicultural, and I'm very proud of that.
That was not the tea I was searching for, but I will find it.
It's a very good one.
I'm trying to think of like what would be something, because you know what, I'm gonna be. Well, actually, I'll be 100%. I'm a very honest person, and I try to live my life very transparent. And like, if you ask me a question, people for some reason are really afraid to approach me, in general, to ask me questions. But I'm actually a very open book. So like,
so people are intimidated by you.
Yeah, I don't know why. It cracks me up, but I'm just like,
because you're really a Latina woman.
Probably. I mean, I scare people when I tell them I'm building a media company. They're just like, are you crazy?
¿Por qué tú crees que Caché está loco con ella? Es por eso.
No.
Caché dijo, güey, una mujer empoderada, una mujer con un futuro, que está en un imperio, ¿qué va a hacer Cachete? Gracias y al muerto. Dije que va a empezar con poca mentira. Ahorita se mete por ahí a cortar grama.
Oh my God. Oh man.
I want to thank Rita Bautista for coming on the podcast. Ivan for being my special co-host today. Caché for
Hey, no diga nada, después te mando un bill.
No. Hey,
for the live interview. Gracias a Caché.
So thank you to Caché. I'm gonna play the intro to the podcast, my last commercial, and I'll see you guys next. Oh my God. So I can't record on Tuesdays for the month of November. It's obviously Thanksgiving. No, wait. All the way around. I was going to do Thursdays, so I'm doing Tuesdays. Jazz will be back in December. She has enough to show.
Eso está pagando bueno, que están dando vacaciones.
She's I can't say what she's working on, but she's not available. So she'll be back in December.
No, en diciembre.
Yes.
So, ¿cuántas semanas que yo voy a cubrir?
However many you want.
Espérate, déjame poner esto aquí. Ya llevo una semana.
Next Tuesday, I will be announcing a big project that I'm working on. I'll be able to have the liberty to talk about it live on the show. And I'll announce who will be our guest on Friday. Big guest. Executive producer on television. Rita, thank you again.
Thank you, guys.
See you all next week. Adios. Happy Thanksgiving.
You feel that now? I feel like Rocky in this one, baby. Let's go. Alright, check it. Blast from the past, back from the future. So if I pull the trigger in the past, no you in your future. I'm still hustling, still hugging the block. The referee to the shit, I'm still.
Since 1985, ASER has helped aspiring Latino students achieve their dream of going to college. But despite students' unwavering desire for progress, they still feel lost and powerless, making the need for support greater than ever. And that means it's time to hacer more. Go further like Katia Acheserata. Apply to the McDonald's ASER National Scholarship. Since 1985, McDonald's has given away more than $33 million in scholarships. Win a scholarship up to $100K. McDonald's is giving away $500K in scholarships this year. You can win one of the 30 scholarships. To apply, go to McDonald's ASER National Scholarships website. Visit mcdonalds.com/ASER. That's mcdonalds.com/ASER.